It's 5:30. We'll call the meeting of Board of Public Works to order in February 17th, 2025 at City Hall Council Chambers. Item 2, approval of minutes of February 3rd, 2025, Board of Public Works meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizens' comments. Citizens' comments. There are no citizens. Item 4, request to approve purchase of forklift for wastewater division presented by Mark Cavella, wastewater superintendent.
Good evening. The wastewater treatment plant regularly receives palletized shipments of essential supplies such as polymer barrels, hydraulic oil, gear lube, magnesium hydroxide bags, and replacement parts. Additionally, equipment requiring repairs are palletized and shipped out to the appropriate repair facility. A forklift is necessary to safely and efficiently load, unload, and store these items. The wastewater division currently has no forklift. We frequently need to borrow street division's forklift or rent one. Upon evaluating our department's needs, it was determined a 6,000-pound lift capacity with a 144-inch reach was required. Quotes were obtained from 3 central Wisconsin forklift dealerships, plus Sourcewell. New versus used were compared. After careful review of all multiple options, the Bobcat G30N-7 emerged as the most cost-effective and operationally beneficial choice. The city's CIP lists this as a 2025 purchase and an estimated cost of $40,000. Funding will be from the wastewater utility user fees and not from the city's tax base. I recommend approval to purchase one new Bobcat G30N-7 forklift from Wolter Group in the amount of $32,935.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Have a motion. Okay, we have a second. Any questions? Oh, go ahead.
I was just curious. I was looking at the two, Mark, and the 2 liters there. It looks like it's the Bobcat and the Hangcha. Is there any reason that one drew you over the other? I saw warranty maybe was a little bit better in the Bobcat. Looked pretty similar otherwise. I just noticed a very slight cost difference, not massive, but just kind of wanted to pick your brain on it.
A few different things. It has an enhanced brake system. It has disc brakes instead of drum brakes. It does come with a free servicing at the 50-hour mark, and there's a few other warning systems, low fuel level or LP level in the tank, warning levels, and being a long-term known brand name has a big thing to do with it.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Number 5, sanitary sewer lining presentation presented by Mark Cavella, wastewater superintendent.
Up on the screen, you'll see a depiction, an overview of the city of Marshfield. The city of Marshfield covers approximately 7,500 acres. The sanitary sewer system serves nearly this entire area. The southern half, depicted in blue, of the system flows by gravity to the wastewater plant, which is on your lower right-hand side, the southeast corner of town. The northern half in general is served by 4 different lift stations depicted in the different colors, the yellow, orange, green, and white. This depicts two overviews of the city. On the left shows a map of the entire sanitary sewer system consisting of over 700,000 feet of sewer main and over 2,500 manholes. The oldest pipes were clay, installed from the early 1900s through the 1940s. These pipes are prone to leaks and roots due to the many unsealed joints. In the 1950s and 1960s, concrete sewer mains were installed. These pipes are prone to internal deterioration. In the 1970s, PVC pipe became a common material used for sewer mains. PVC has been used ever since due to its ease of use and longevity. By the late 1980s, both clay and concrete mains were beginning to deteriorate, and the first replacements became necessary. In the late 1990s, a trenchless method to rehabilitate mains without digging became available called cured in place pipe lining, commonly abbreviated as CIPP. This enables a new pipe similar to a PVC pipe to be inserted inside an existing pipeline, expanded, formed, and then cured. The city contracted out the first lining project in 1998 and has continued these lining projects approximately every other year. On the right overview depicted on the screen shows progress to date with 983 segments totaling over 250,000 feet now lined. This is approximately 35% of the entire sewer system that is now rehabilitated using this method. Lining has typically cost in the neighborhood of $25 per foot. There has been 12 lining projects over the past 25 years, totaling about $7 million worth of rehabilitation. Replacement of all these pipelines by excavating would have been over $100 per foot. That's including the actual pipeline and the rehabilitation of the street above it. And that cost would have been in exceedance of $26 million. So basically, the city has saved over $19 million over the past 25 years by lining these mains versus replacing. The overview on the left, highlighted in red, shows the remaining clay mains that have yet to be rehabilitated by either lining or replacing. This is about 3.5% of the sewer system. On the right, highlighted in yellow, shows the remaining concrete lines. These are about 8.5% of the system. These depictions on the left, highlighted in orange, shows the remaining clay pipes that are 6 inches or smaller. These are too small to line and will need to be replaced eventually. Highlighted on the right shows a total of all these mains that have yet to be rehabilitated. This is about 14.5% of the system. Here's a video of a typical 8-inch concrete main over 20 years ago. And then it transitions to approximately 13 years later. And you can see the deterioration of 13 years has accelerated and actually has eroded a joint in the main, allowing a leak to form. And obviously this is put on a rehabilitation list. And the following year it was lined. And you'll see the same spot after the lining that occurred. So this is the joint coming up that was leaking, and it's totally sealed. As you can see, the lining is stained. It has a little bit of deterioration on the inside, not deterioration, but there's a small, real thin liner that tends to peel a little bit, but it's not structural, it's more cosmetic. Here's another example of a deteriorated 8-inch concrete main. Oop. I didn't forward the. There we go. This is the next concrete main that was severely deteriorated with actually holes right through it. This is what happens if you let it go too long before rehabilitation. This was very on the border edge that it could be lined. It almost had to be dug up. And then the following, it transitions to a video showing the same spot in the line after the lining had been installed. Same footage, same pipe after lining. This video is an 8-inch clay main with leaks and root problems. See, just about every joint has roots, and this joint is almost causing the main to plug up. This is the same main after lining, same spot. Those are examples of main lining where the entire pipeline from manhole to manhole is lined completely. There's also another method to spot line. Just say if it's a good condition main and there's just one defect there, we call it spot lining, typically 3 to 4 feet long. And here's an example of one of those. As you can see, this is a good, otherwise good shaped PVC 8-inch main, but it's got this crack, and then it's leaking groundwater. So the video will transition to a repair done on it by a spot liner. And it totally sealed up the leak and transitioned smoothly. Final slide that I have is a depiction of a T-liner. This newer technology can line up a lateral from the main line, forming a watertight and seamless transition. This will be used to rehabilitate portions of South Maple this summer. And those are the examples that I have for you. Overall, lining is especially useful for rehabilitating deep sewers or in areas where the street is in good shape and no other utilities need replacement. Lining does have limitations. For instance, a crooked or sag pipe will still have those defects after lining. It doesn't straighten out the pipe, it just coats the inside of it with a new pipe. So it's not, for for every rehabilitation need. Whenever possible, a full street reconstruction with new sewer main, lateral storm sewer, and water main has the best end result, such as East 14th Street last year and the upcoming West 5th and South Vine projects, which will be total reconstructs. But other than that, that's the update of where we're at on lining for the past couple decades.
Anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Russ.
Thanks for the presentation. Worth 1,000 words, pictures, right? I was surprised to see the PVC crack, the PVC line. How common is that?
Very uncommon. It probably, when they were laying the pipeline, either a rock rolled into the trench, unbeknownst to, the layers, and, some pressure formed when it got filled in. But it happens from time to time, but it's a rarity.
And then the other thing, when I look at this T unit here, I'm just trying to figure out how they even go about installing something like that. Do you have any idea how that would work?
It does go in from the main, and it's a preformed T liner that's more of a flexible bag in shape, for lack of a better word. And it's embedded with resin, and they drag it in the line. They spot it so it's right at the lateral, and then they inflate it, and it goes up the lateral, and then it expands and then cures. And the new technology, or newer, is, if you notice on the depiction, there's some black, like, gaskets.
Yeah.
That is actually a hydrophilic membrane that expands with moisture, so it seals itself once it's in place. So we're really looking forward to utilizing this method.
And I think that line was, 16 feet deep? South Maple? I thought it was a real deep one.
In areas, yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay, thanks, informative.
Good.
You mentioned the spot lining and that sometimes you guys can just target certain spots. I'm just curious, is that usually in like a pipe that wouldn't wind up needing lining in the future?
Correct.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. I was like, is there ever a situation where we get in and we're like, we should just line the whole thing, but we're just going to spot line it? But I was kind of assuming it was more in the instance of
most cases.
line.
There is one case where it, in addition to spot lining over a defect, we sometimes utilize it for an abandoned property where lateral was put in new in a different location and the old one has to get abandoned. So regardless of the main condition, sometimes it's a lot cheaper and less destructive to put a spot liner to cover up that lateral connection than it is to dig it up and put a cap. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? I see nothing. Thank you, Mark. That was very informative. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Item 6, recommended items for future agendas. Nothing. One. All right. Item 7, entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion? Second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.